Okay, 11 minutes later. If anyone is still on the channel and can see that I'm live, here we go. So I do apologize for that. I had a feeling that, there would be something because there always is, especially when it's, right when it's going to be like one of my favorite topics to talk about, which is medical intuition and quantum healing. We have technical difficulties. It's not even retrograde, but I'm on live. If you're still here, it's 12 minutes later. And there's a chat box, which is what I needed. So right now it doesn't look like anyone's here. Hopefully I didn't lose everyone that was excited to be here today. So hopefully we have um, others join us here and keep trying. Just put into the universe if you came here to be in this show tonight. Um, come back, come back. Here we go. Come back. Okay. So it looks like it's working good on my phone here. Hi, Scott. Okay. Scott, it was 10 minutes of confusion, but we made it. So thank you for following back. Hi, Pink Flower. Works for me. Wonderful. Okay. So we're getting anchored in now. Let's put that behind us. I'll spend the next, let's say, 50 minutes together with everyone now. So I'm going to turn my phone off over here so I can focus here. Please let me know in the chat if it stops streaming or if you can't hear me, any technical difficulties, let me know. I'll also say that this is a free class on medical intuition and quantum healing, inspired by my students, my healer students. I'm excited this month. I am opening a virtual healing center where I am offering positions for people that I have been working with for a long time as healers. So it's super exciting. And I think that this is something that, especially if we get a lot of views or comments or some communication and dialogue going, I'll keep going because it is really important. Whether you want to get into the field of Reiki or quantum healing, or you feel, let's say, maybe you don't feel called to become a medical intuitive and offer these readings for other people, medical intuition and quantum healing is something we can all benefit from. And I'll claim that we all have the ability to tap into and benefit from. So we should. We should. So that's what this class will be on. I'm going to give you some basics, seeing as though this is my first live free class on medical intuition and how to tap into your clairs fundamentally. So you can get started today, like right now on this call or afterwards. Immediate access to your abilities. So we'll start there, and then I'm going to kind of break down what you're opening yourself to. I'm not going to say what you're looking for, and I'll tell you why in a second. If you've worked with me in terms of training, I always say you don't look, you allow, and you observe. So we'll get into that. I'm also, I feel very led to share an energy healing technique that is a technique I would teach quantum healers, Reiki practitioners, and encourage all of my clients to use on themselves because it's super easy. It just requires your hands, some movement, and the technique will show you how to clear your chakras and rebalance your chakras, which is something, again, we can all benefit from. So drop a message in the live chat if you have any questions. I'm opening this up to any questions regarding medical intuition, how you tap into it, how do we connect the dots, what is it, okay? And there's no dumb question. I'm all about it. Quantum healing. What is a quantum healer? What's the quantum field? What's the difference between like a quantum healer, psychic surgery, and Reiki? Maybe you have a health imbalance or something you're going through, like chronic headaches, chronic fatigue. Let me know a little bit. Or, hey, Jojo or Jordan, can you read me? Give me a little reading. So that's what I'm excited about for the show too. If anyone wants a little mini medical intuitive reading, just let me know in the chat, and there will be a portion of time spent towards that. So we're going to just go ahead and dive right in. We're 16 minutes in. You know, this is one of the first classes that I'm offering. So of course, there's going to be a little hiccup in the road, but I'm going to first start by talking about this week, because I know that it's not about medical intuition, but we've gone through a pretty challenging, I think collectively, past few months, if not years, right? It's like nonstop. But this week, hi Cindy, thank you so much for being here. We had technical difficulties in the beginning, but we're running now. Um, so this week is going to be very revealing for us astrologically. Um, there is there's a point in the transits where the sun meets Panacea. So this is about a remedy that is coming forward in all of our lives. So if you've been feeling like you've been on a wheel, you've been stuck and stagnant, this week is going to give you little breadcrumbs of solutions that you've really, really needed. So this week is a breath of fresh air. I'm going to tie it into me giving this class. So let's say, for example, this is my first time ever doing a class like this in a niche that I really feel passionate about. This could be a solution for me. This could be a remedy for me. Astrologically divine timing to really help propel me in a direction that helps me live through my passion. You know, have an hour that I start doing more regularly where I'm just having fun with clients, teaching, being a channel of light. So I challenge you to look at your life this week very carefully in terms of the communication that comes through to you, the relationships that begin to open up, the job opportunities, that inspiration that you've had is now gaining some momentum. So this will be a very good week, lucky week for a lot of us collectively. We can take a deep breath. Just wanted to start with that. And now let's just kind of go into medical intuition. If you're just joining now, you can drop any comments or questions. Hi, Natalie. It's okay that you're late. We had technical difficulties. Thanks so much for joining. If you have any questions on medical intuition, quantum healing, psychic surgery, Reiki, put it in the chat box. If you would like a mini medical intuitive reading, or let's say there's a symptom or an imbalance that you want to hear a perspective or even channeled from your guides about, you can put that also in there. But let's just start with the basics of medical intuition. So what is it? Okay, so the way that I would describe medical intuition is that it's a perception and interpretation of frequencies, energies, and patterns with a heightened ability or a spiritual or intelligent ability to see the whole. So when you're tapped into your own medical intuitive abilities, what you are doing is you're getting into your clairs senses. You're using your clairs to discern energy. Where? Here. The energy that makes you up, that you are. I always like to say that medical intuition brings you closer to God. It brings you closer to spirit. Now, that might be kind of different to hear, but if you think about it, you know, whenever you get an illness, if you've ever gone through a challenging imbalance, health imbalance, an injury, having to go to surgery, what tends to happen? You get on your knees and you pray. Usually, sometimes these chaos moments, these tower card moments, they bring us to our knees, they humble us, and they bring us back home. They bring us into our heart. And fundamentally, that's what medical intuition is. So when you're there in your heart, you're present. And when you're present, you're meeting with the divine. And when you're there, you open your clairs and you observe. So let's say there's something that you have been going through for a long time. Let's say you keep getting repetitive headaches. The first thing you're going to want to do is understand which clairs do you have that are more heightened. If you consider yourself ESP, so first of all, let's bring it back here. When we awaken, You can go through an awakening through trauma. I think that's the most obvious. We go through a traumatic event, our sensory systems open and wired for survival, and we begin to have a heightened perception sensory system to keep us alive. That comes with understanding now more of an awareness of energy. Now and it can be painful. So a lot of times we call that the dark night of the soul. Usually, like a karmic soulmate may come through, a trauma bond may happen, and it's triggering awakening. There's also really pleasant times that we can be triggered into an awakening, like you get a job that helps you to see your true gifts. Like you didn't even expect it, but you took this job, and all of a sudden, you've got this amazing skill in this area of life that can trigger an awakening in a very beautiful way. Then things start to unfold. The magic of life, you're experiencing miracles. It brings you present. It's not taking you into the past. You're not worried about the future. You're present and enjoying, and that will wake you up. That'll help you to have more awareness of life and energy. So there are those kind of different paths of awakening. But when you do awaken, you start to not only notice energy, you can feel it. Okay. So you can, let me see here. So I have I'm going to get to this here in a second. I see we've got some chats here. So thank you. You can begin to notice that when you're awakening, that there's energy. And often, so we're awakening, we feel it, is where I was going. So, this is Pink Flower says, what's that? What's the clairs? So, what is it? What are you feeling? That's where we start with medical intuition. So, we've got the clairs. You are wired as a medium. I'll claim that. It's probably the end of my life. Okay. So, I see humans, us, as meat suits. I see us as flesh and like a suit that contains energy. It is energy, it is frequency. But what's so amazing about us as humans is that we have a nervous system and that we have an endocrine system. We've got all of these physical symptoms that we're very aware of. It's measurable. They have it in the textbooks in medical school, and the doctor tells us all about it. We learn it in school. What they don't teach us is that your eyes, your ears, your nose, your throat, your skin, all of these different sensory organs, they have the ability to help you discern energy through the dimensions. You are interdimensional, you're multidimensional. If you've been working with me, I explain that how do we get into the different dimensions? We go into a brain state. We have the awareness of them. We intend ourselves there. Okay, so that's your command, your prayer, your spell. That's you bending the field. That's you manipulating energy as a divine soul. So your clairs, when you tap into your clairvoyance, this is tied to your eyes. I call it your spiritual eyes. We want to see through our spiritual eyes. There was a quote in my family that would go around. It was like, when I was growing up, it was like, believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. When you are able to see through the extrasensory perception of clairvoyance, you tend to see the energetic imprint. You tend to see the patterns, the frequencies that bring every particle and piece of everything into alignment or together. Now, there's a lot of, in spirit saying, to say this right away, there's a lot of fear-based propaganda and agendas about clairvoyance. Oh, don't open your spiritual eyes. You don't want to see it. We've got all of these witches that wake up and go give offerings on YouTube and tarot cards, and then they see something dark or scary, and then they go back to religion. They run back to the familiar, and they get back on YouTube and have this testimonial about how dark it is to see and how you shouldn't see. We don't want to give into that. You want to use your discernment on that. Let's take a time out. Having what to you energetically feels let's say balanced is the word, not good or bad, balanced, harmony. Being in the dark, walking around like this, or seeing clearly the path that you are on. Okay, I would say that harmony and balance is coming from seeing when you're walking around with your like this, you could trip. You can kind of sense over here it's like, a little murky, but you end up kind of blindly going in directions that may not be the best for you. So it's always high vibrational to see. Now, what tends to happen when we open up our clairvoyance is that we do see lower energy things. So I'll take a time out here and say this. A lot of times you're seeing yourself. So when you wake up and you start to see, oh my God, there's a spirit in the house. A lot of times people will reach out to me. I think there's spirits connected to my kids or my dogs or on the property. A lot of times when we awaken and we begin to see, we see the reflection of us. This experience, if you want to get into medical intuition or be any type of healer, you have to understand we're in this like dualistic matrix where we are a mirror. Okay. For example, today I had someone that was asking about black magic, how to remove it. Nobody's magic, prayer, spells should ever influence you unless you allow it. And until you get into your clairvoyance, you may never really resonate with that because that connection and stream of the higher truth of vision isn't seen yet. I want to also take a pause here to say that when we do tap into our clairvoyance, it's not always like right now I'm looking out of my third eye and I'm looking at a wall. I don't see anything other than this third dimension. But sometimes like I'll see an image kind of coming down this way towards my shoulder. Like I see it here. Sometimes I close my eyes and I see like either it's all black. It's like a void. And then I can see holograms. I can see sometimes like a movie playing out, like I'm actually there and remote viewing in the scene. Sometimes I get a symbol, okay? And so I encourage you to become familiar with your eyes, your spiritual eyes. We can work together also, I can help you to develop this, but something you can do is just um, when you are noticing that you're beginning to get inspiration, notice if your eyes are staring in one space, if you feel fixated to focus here, and if that helps you to have a sense of relaxation. If when your eyes are fixed in a certain direction and you intend yourself to be in your mind's eye or your spiritual eyes, you begin to know things. You begin to have the clarity connection. You start to feel this flow through you. That's really as simple as being in your third eye is. I don't walk down the street and see spirits attached to people all the time or a tourist field around people all the time. I don't see chakras just lit up. All I see just like in a normal vision. So as you're becoming more familiar with your clairs, know it's very subtle. It's you. And it's very faint, okay? And it requires presence. And the more you develop your clairvoyance, everyone has it to different levels, okay? The stronger the skill is, as in with any muscle, with any skill, any sport, okay? So with clairvoyance, we can then turn it back to us and see ourselves. There's a lot of myths out there that we can't read ourselves. And I'm just like, the purpose of your intuition is to give yourself the inner knowing guidance, right? It's to be able to connect with your own guides and angels yourself. So you don't have to outsource that. You're wired to have this communication between the physical and the spiritual, which is you in your body. So we have the clairvoyance. You also have clairaudience, your spiritual ears. So when you are in the clairaudience, often it sounds like your own voice. Some clairaudient people will hear spirits outside of their head, like in this dimension. Did somebody say that? In a different voice than themselves. You can also hear it as your own voice. And all of a sudden, your voice inside of your head is like becoming this like out of left field critic that doesn't feel like you. So this could be clairaudient manipulation. Now, this is, I see as a root cause to a lot of imbalances because we often think it's us. Okay, so understanding your clairs and understanding the voice of your ego go hand in hand. So we have the clairaudience. We also have clairsentience. This is very popular and common that I see people have it heightened. It's very common that we hear people say, oh, I got goosebumps. When you said that, I got goosebumps. You know, my hair stood up on my skin. It's the ability to feel phantom impressions in your skin. So, how could this play out in medical intuition? I see this ability very similar to clair empathy. So, sometimes I feel in my own body what my client is going through. If you are developing your medical intuitive ability, the clear empathy is one that you want to develop, as well as the clairsentience. I feel some like tension over here in my knee. What's going on with your knee? We could ask spirit and we could start to see, oh, well, they fell last week. So let me take a time out. I just combine the clairs as I'm reading the client. I feel in my own body as if it's me, the injury that the client has felt. It feels like sharp throbs. That's the symptoms client A is feeling. When you begin to develop your medical intuitive ability more, you then can ask through mediumship. So it's a psychic ability. Well, it's an empathic ability. Clear empathy is. But then you get into your mediumship ability and you ask spirit, their guides, what happened? Their higher mind, what's going on? And then you hear clairaudiently back what happened. That's called medical mediumship. So I'll say medical intuition is more psychic, and medical mediumship is with the help of guides. So let's take a pause here again. Even if you're not doing this for other people, do it for you. You can do this for yourself. This is your tool. And I just want to encourage you because when I read people, their guides, clients' guides, come forward with this information. They come forward with remedies, not for me. I'm just the channel. They're for you. So these type of classes are great because it will help you to connect the dots with the energy that you're perceiving. So I talked about voyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, clear empathy. And this is also big for a lot of psychics is we tend to feel it in our gut. So you could say that is tied to the psychic ability through maybe clear sentience or clear empathy. What does that mean? In medical intuition, our symptoms have meaning. Our symptoms are communication to us. Okay? They are the breadcrumbs that we follow we follow and trace the pattern to seeing the whole. So what is that stomach ache saying? Well, there is, before we even can see it in our physical eyes, someone about to text us that's very angry. Okay? I start to feel that in my stomach. Something's off. So when we begin to have a symptom, we can do a few things about it. Just like what I said, tap into the clair and sense, observe. Then this is, biblical and across many religions, you ask and you will receive. And I truly believe that's part of what the ancients meant by that is to communicate with energy, to communicate with the field for discernment. So that I know, okay, someone's about to come into my space, very angry. 10 minutes later, here they are. I'm already expecting it. I already know they're on their way. I'll say I see it, but I feel it. So the more and more you practice your clairs, it becomes a oneness. And the more and more you practice discernment, it's integrated to see the whole picture. You also have clairgustance. This is where you can smell phantom odors and sense. So how does this play a role in medical intuition? For me, one of the biggest ones is I tend to smell earthbound spirits as a certain odor. It also can come through, let's say you're going into the field of medical intuition and you're reading a client, and all of a sudden you start to taste or smell a certain like bourbon, a whiskey. You might start to smell or taste cigarettes. So the smell and the taste are connected, with the clairgustance. And so you can get that, you're reading the energy through that scent. So their field, everything in the past, present, and future is already there. And you're sensing it, something, through the taste or smell. Now let's backtrack. We go into these sessions to be of service to the higher power. We're not going in to prove we can read people or for whatever egotistical reason. So when you go in intentionally into these readings, is you're asking, what does this incredible individual need to know for their highest good? What is the most pressing message that you can speak through me to help this person transcend, to go higher? And then all of a sudden you start to smell or taste cigarettes or whiskey. That's the healing message. You're drinking too much. You're smoking too many cigarettes. And you use your other senses, or you get yourself out of the way and just be that mediumistic channel for their guides and find out a deeper part of the pattern leading to the whole. Well, it seems like you're always fatigued, and so I'm tracing it over here to this alcohol that I'm smelling and the cigarettes, and it just feels very heavy and chronic. I'm seeing this kind of being tied to feeling burnt out and exhausted. You start to make these connections to a symptom. You start to see the pattern, the story unfold when you ask. So, medical intuition is a combination of all of your psychic, empathic, and mediumistic abilities to deliver a healing message of higher truth regarding patterns leading to disease. And let's be real, you can be as close to the divine as you are. You can be a light worker, live your life for the higher power, out giving healing, and still end up sick and still end up with a disease. Okay. So, with that, it comes there. There comes a place of, with medical intuition, the truth, the presence, the present moment. You meet God. You find out that God's not just some man on a throne. That your illness is an accumulation of choices. You find out that there's been a pattern that you're hooked in or hooked on, that each and every day, like a gradual mini sin to the self, builds. And then you have the disorder, then you have the disease. So that's why medical intuition isn't for everybody, because you meet God and you understand the power of your choice and how that plays a role in what you're going through. So that's the clairs briefly. Let's take a time out and go into questions here. So, and please let me know if I'm making sense or if I need to explain something a little bit more. So Cindy says, I have chronic pain on my right side, arthritis in my hip, but now increasingly causing sciatic pain and heel pain, both feet. I stretch a lot. Any other advice? Okay. So in medical intuition, when you begin to, let's say, see the field, or I forgot the big one, clear cognizance, you just know. That one's a little bit more difficult. They call it an anointing. So you just know. You're not necessarily seeing anything, hearing, feeling, tasting, you just know. So when we can interchange all of the clairs. So when we're knowing that there's a field, it's broken down into quadrants and energy systems that are all interconnected. And it's important to know that you are electric. God is electric. The goddess is electric. And it runs through you and it fuels you. Okay. So we are almost like a torus shaped energy field. The energy field goes out feet from you in all directions. So if you haven't seen a torus field, go look it up on Google. It's like a donut shape. And energy flows in like this constantly, all the time. So the energy is electricity. And there is a measurable in quantum physics, and there's technology that measures this, the electromagnetic fields of, let's say, your heart, your brain, your hands, which we'll be diving into today. So the right side of the body, I see it as a positive charge. So the left hand will give you a positive charge. You give that out. And the left side is more of a negative, as if a battery is going to be receiving in from that negative side of the polarity. So we receive it on the left side. Biologically, who receives in the feminine and masculine nature, the feminine energy. So the negative charge, your left side of the body is the feminine side of your body. The feminine side of your body is also connected to your lower tetrahedron in your Merkaba. Okay? On the right side, it's your masculine. It's the giving out. So I tend to see, especially with women, when we could call it the yang energy, the masculine side of the body here, we're on this side, having imbalances. It can be stemming from imbalances with the masculine within ourselves or our relationship with the men in our lives. This can be father, brother, uncle, sons, male friends. Now, in different quadrants of the body on the right side can also give us a message. Like, let's say the shoulder area, right shoulder, this could be, let's say it's a woman and she's caretaking. This is the caretaking area of the body connected to the heart. So we not only have sides, quadrants, but every area is connected to an energy center that we call chakras, which look like vortexes of energy. Okay, so this side over here is connected to the heart. Now for your hip, let's go down the body. We're talking about root chakra. So the hip, the knees, the legs, into the lower back, sciatic pain, pain in the heels. This is a root chakra imbalance. So I would read this question as there may be an imbalance tied to paternal energy, needing to heal ancestral wounds tied to paternal energy, overly giving out tied to the root. So we get layered and layered and layered. Then we can bring in our clients' guides as well and get more of evidential mediumship based on the individual's life. So coming back to the legs, well, your legs aren't here just to support you. Okay. They are, you have money chakras and the lower part of your body, like your knees. Your knees will also tell you about circumstances. Your feet are not here just to support you. They're here to get you from A to B. They're here to help you carry your mission forward in living action, help you to walk through life. So when it comes to the left, or where are we at here? We're on the right side of the body, in the right foot. There also could be, I'm giving my groundedness away. I'm overly extending of my own root to be in support of others, which is also very common for women because we're programmed to continually give, continually overgive. Feet are also, so we can keep going further and further and further in what this means, including, I don't want to ignore, medical astrology. Okay, so well, maybe that'll be my next class. But let's go back to where I was with the foot. Where I was going with this is that it can tie into different reflexology points. And in different medicines and alternative healing, the foot reflexology is going to point to different organs. and the chi or prana, life force, Holy Spirit, Holy Ghost, the electricity flowing through you. So we can look at your heels and say, I think potentially, and if I do begin to tap in, I'm feeling the kidneys. I'm feeling the kidneys. So this could be fear. There's a lot of fear with my step. There's a lot of fear tied from paternal ancestry and me walking in my truth or my giving of my power away. Kidneys hold fear. They resonate very deeply with fear and shock. Being in survival mode, fight or flight mode, is tied into literal urination, or holding of digestion and urination when you're having to survive and fight for yourself. So that's the overview. Basically, we can go on and on and on and on. We could probably pull up Cindy's astrology and say, is there Aquarius in the chart? What about Capricorn? As I'm going over to that lower area of the body, there may naturally be traits, energies, planetary shifts that you've chosen before you come here to have awareness of that may influence your body in a certain way. So we can go on and on and on. But let's take a pause here for my fellow medical intuitives and quantum healers and see that's the symbology of the symptoms generally. The next thing you do is when you have a client in front of you, like Miss Cindy here, we could ask, let's ask her soul, let's ask her heel, let's ask her back, let's ask her root chakra, her angels. There's all of these sources where we can get a frequency from. And we're using our clairs to understand. Well, I'm hearing that there's a level of determination. I feel very determined, where I'm almost overextending my own self in work, or when my body is saying like I need to kind of stop this, I'm just going. And Cindy, please let me know or let us all know how this may resonate or tie in, with you. But this determination to get things accomplished, it's almost like your body's saying to halt. And I do feel like I kind of need to take a step back to really focus on um, movement, but not physical movement of my feet within me. So like moving this energy through my body. So let me go ahead and tap in here and see if there is a message, a little bit more specifically for Cindy other than determination. I think there's also a deep level, I think it's mental, because again, I'm getting like you're very determined and it's either stress, an overextension of your load tied into the fear of the kidney line being blocked. And I also feel that there may have been some sort of like, was there an actual injury where I felt like a blow in my back? Um, I'd be curious to know because it does feel like there's an injury that needs healing also. And in medical intuition, all of that energy that we gave as a message could be the precursor to an injury and an imbalance. Now, I also, whenever you're doing medical intuitive for aspiring healers out there, we always say, I'm not a doctor. I can't prescribe or diagnose. And these services are not meant to replace a medical professional. This is tapping into energy, tapping into the field and communicating with spirit to deliver healing messages. So Cindy, if you're still here, please let us know if this resonates. Injury, oh man, what did I do? She says injury. So I have to think about that. Arthritis is there. You are spot on with the kidney stuff. I have to pee all the time. So I'm in fear. And that's where there's a stagnancy on the lower back. So we want to move that. Cliche through the mindset and being more faith-based, more trusting of myself, and in relation to how like fear of within the world with my step and my movement. So I would do energy healing to heal it. And I would work on those things as well. Now with arthritis, there's always it can be like energetically a fear of getting older. A lot of times it's the heart chakra, the immune system, biologically. So that may tell you also about the heart, the immune system, and self-love and care. Thank you so much. I want to touch on this just a bit more because back pain can also be a very strong message tied to messenger of death syndrome. There, it can be a communication of a major change and transition. If this is something we've been dealing with for years, which it does feel like there's been some time here, it's not the same energy message of like messenger of death. So when I start getting back pain in my lower back, although I've had a lot of back history problems and avoided surgery and healed, for me in my symbol book, when I start getting back pain, I get very focused because something is about to change. Thank you so much. So Pink Flower says, what's that? What's the clairs? We touched on that. Natalie says, too many questions, but when will I go back to modeling, acting, dancing full time this year? Month. That's going to be a question for tomorrow's show, 6 p.m., which is ask any question. So let's come back tomorrow at 6 p.m. and I'll that can be one of the first questions. Thank you so much for saying something though. Let's say Pink Flower says, so Claire would be like this connection and paths between the dimensions. It's your sensory organelles, your senses that are, yes, you're tracing, you're observing through a clair. So tap in and say, okay, so I want to go ahead and let's go ahead and like if we were all to right now tap into the group's energy, everybody that's here. I tap into my clairvoyance. You can move your eyes, look up. You can look to the left. You can stare somewhere. You can close your eyes and look out your brow line. If your mind has a whole bunch going on, it's going to be full of those imageries. If you are wide open, you got all these cords coming out. You could be feeling your friend's energy, your workplace's energy, atmospheres, objects, locations, whole 9 yards. But when you're clear and grounded, that's when you want to really get into the abilities. And then, okay, I tap into the group right now and I start to hear. And then when mediums have been studied in their brains, this is called something called synesthesia, where it's like I hear a color. It's very common with mediums. So the group looks very purple to me right now. I see purple and I hear it, So when you tap into your clairvoyance, you tap there, you tap into it, and you say, what is the energetic frequency of my feet right now? I've got feet pain. Clairvoyantly, what do I see? You can be patient, you can be present. You might start to see, there's a lot of red by my feet. That's where I hold anger in my body. It's red, the color red, not being empowerment, which it can be. It's anger being held at the feet. Could be also tied to left, right side of the body, maternal, paternal energy. So yes, the clairs are your how you discern energy through the dimensions. So some people get visions when they go into let's say they're meditating, that's clairvoyance. You might hear from your guides, clairaudience. Thank you. Okay. And so I think I already read that. Cindy said injury, I have to think about that. Arthritis is there. You are spot on with the kidney and paternal energy. You said that to me in my reading last year, so that does resonate. Thank you. Pink Flower. Let me ask you about itchy throat, extended to itchy ears and eyes. Does not hurt, but just an annoyance. For 8 years, we thought it was allergies, but nothing works. Pink Flower, thank you. Okay. Now, when we can receive downloads from spirit, it could be like itchy skin. Oh my God, I'm itchy today. I always have lotion on, and my skin can be dry, but like not like this. Like I got an itch. I know to focus because your clairs help you to read the energy flowing into you. Remember that we're like the donut shape, and so energy is always flowing in. So it's through the skin or like through your clairsentience that you would receive the energy, let's say from the angels. So the angels you're praying, you're asking, and then God, source, spirit, angels, they drop it into your crown as energy, as electricity. One of your clairs is going to pick it up. So one of your senses, one part of your body, your organs, you will receive it. So when you're plugged in, you have the awareness that this itchiness, this could be a download. Now, to me, it feels like allergies. It also feels like your pancreas. I feel like there is a digestive system imbalance that may need clearing to help with the inflammatory response of your skin. That's also coming through. But I do see you getting downloads every now and then. And then I also want to tie in the crown, which is what's speaking to me, interestingly enough, is that with your crown, that's where it's like your spirit saying like for you to connect the dots to have discernment of what's going on here, for you to plug back in and find out yourself, to have discernment of like, yeah, I do need to kind of cleanse here, and I can see how it's leading to something of an immune response through my skin. Pink flower, does that resonate with you? Do we have something autoimmune going on, or are we feeling backed up digestively, potentially influencing the immune system? I think it's the immune system is the root cause. And Cindy says, thank you. It's amazing to see and hear you work. Thank you so much, Cindy. Natalie says, okay. So Pink Flower says, no, immune system is not what's going on. Neither is digestion. Okay. That's what I'm receiving. I see like over on the right side of the abdomen, a block. I also feel it in the heart and throat as I go up. So did you mention something about your throat as I'm going up a little higher now? Yes, you said, let me ask you about itchy throat. Energetically, with the throat chakra, whenever it feels like we got something stuck in our throat, something's there, it's a knot. You're not, you could be not speaking your truth, or when you are speaking your truth, you're not heard, received, or felt. You're not connecting through your voice. Does that make sense? She says constant downloads. It's constant. Like she's saying no, that's not resonating. And she's saying no, no, not particularly. I'm super healthy, no sickness. But yes, throat, eyes, and ears. So, from reading people, mediums always have issues with these areas. So I think it's the energy being distributed through your communication. Um, could also be what you're processing isn't sitting well with me, with myself. Um, she said, Pink Flower said, not speaking truth and not connecting. Now it rings a bell. Yeah. It's the way power is being distributed through you. She says, you hit the nail on the head with the speaking. I could go on and on about how incredibly important you speaking your truth is to your existence and harmony of your energy. And we're going to be wrapping it up here soon. But I will say that in medical intuition, it it's all about when you see the whole, the energy systems, it's how the power is distributed through you, the electricity. So if there's a block here in the throat, then how is the energy going to be running from the mind to the root? Your mind's focus to your groundedness of your root. How is the third eye going to be connected to your gut's instinct, your psychic ability? It's blocked. The power's stuck here. So in order to be, whenever we're trying to heal anything, it's about harmony, flow, and balance of the dualistic natures. So we want to get you more speaking, more freely, including being heard and received when you do speak up. This could also be transitioning also into your work. I am, it's like I'm going a little bit deeper now, where it's like I feel like I'm seeing signs or pennies from heaven, and it's like either you're not being received when you're saying something, and I do feel like this is potentially both family and work, and then I'm stopped, and that prana isn't flowing through, and my wisdom, my truth, my intuition isn't met, and that's blocking me. So with the throat chakra, we and as a conclusion here, whenever we're going into medical intuition or quantum healing, we always give the healing message. We don't just leave people hanging. We always give healing. So not only are we going to encourage here our client, Pink Flower, to speak more of the truth, but also I would say that we need to be bold in articulating the things that in the direction we want to go with in our career, and maybe do some sound healing or start singing, humming, chanting. Say Hugh. Hugh is higher than the Om. That'll get it open. How can it translate? How can it be translated to being heard and understood? Well, because you're here to share, you're here to be in community and connection. And it's like the voice of God, if that brings it into perspective. That's how incredibly important you speaking up is. We don't want to stop the voice of the goddess, because it won't work. The energy field won't work. It works off of freedom, authenticity, and love. We're going to wrap it up with a technique to open your chakras and clear them as promised, okay? Thank you so much, Pink Flower, and everyone that's contributed, and that everyone that's here. I talked about the hands, negative, positive. Your chakras are like discs. They're vortexes of energy. When balanced, they're open. They can give a frequency that looks like a color, and it goes clockwise, the vortex does. And it should be aligned along the spine. Sometimes they're over to the left chakras, and sometimes they're over to the right. And Pretty Pink Flower says, voice of the goddess, love it. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Thank you. So real quick, let's say we have a lot going on in our root chakra. It feels stagnant. Sometimes you just need to move the energy out of the way. And try this and come back and comment on this video in like a week if you see a shift. You're already going to see a shift because of astrology, I guarantee it. But take one of your hands. I usually will take the positive or my dominant hand, and we go counterclockwise to clear. So it's really simple. We don't have to get any clairs involved. But if you're a quantum healer or training or working with me, or you're medical intuitive, or you want to go a step further, get into your clairs. So we go counterclockwise. I hope I'm doing this right, because I'm in the right brain trying to figure out left and rights and stuff. Jeez. So we're going counterclockwise with your hand. So this would be over my third eye chakra. Okay, so I'm just clearing. You don't have to do anything. Your hands will do it. Your hands will do it. Your body is intelligent. But when you put your intention and mind behind it, it goes even further. So I'm intentionally clearing my third eye chakra. Any belief systems that just don't align with me, anything that was programmed in there that's not going to bring me prosperity or my highest fulfillment, I release. Now, while you're doing that, you might start to feel a shift energetically. Like you might start to feel, it feels heavy over here. Feels like when I close my eyes, I see dark clouds. Like, what's this? So you just keep doing it as long as you intuitively need to do it. If you get your clairvoyance into it, you can visualize like the energy maybe being gray or stuck or stagnant. and you see it just transmuting into light or higher, you can incorporate that. But when you're done, maybe go like this a little bit. If you're doing it to someone else, I would shake it off. Now go back clockwise. This is going to balance now and reset your chakras. And so then you just want to now balance and open. So I would start with the root and work my way up. And in the end, excuse me, sometimes what I do is I'll just run my hands like this and over all my chakras. I'm going up to my root, clearing. And I'll also say that I'm connecting. So after I've opened and cleared the root and the sacral and the solar and the heart and the throat and the third eye and crown, I say I'm intentionally connecting all energy centers. I allow the flow of spirit from the earth into my roots, into my root chakra, and up through my body and down from above. And you're just filling yourself with light. You've opened your chakras, and I guarantee you, you will see a shift, more likely in your health, but also in your life. And that's something where we'll stay tuned to the next time. Maybe I'll make a note to go into like how the energy centers are more than just determinant of health. They're determinant of your life, So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that there were some tidbits here that helped you with awareness of your capabilities, of your power, of the skills that are waiting there for you to develop. And I think hopefully we have a little bit of a foundational understanding of like the power of choice and who is really behind that mirror and how it plays out into the quantum field. So we didn't talk too much about the quantum field, although we did, but that's what you're working upon is the quantum field. So thank you guys so much. Cindy says, thank you so much. And thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Scott says, thanks, Jordan. You did well. Good first class. Thanks, Scott. Scott's actually one of my first quantum healers that I've been working with for a really long time. I'm really excited to now begin to work aside with him, side by side. So I have a virtual healing center that will be an extension of my website. And you will begin to, if you don't just want to work with me, or maybe you want to work with a man or someone else or someone from across the world or something, different religion, different race, whatever, there is going to be a diverse group of healers that you can choose to work with that I've been working with to make sure that they're strong and really rooted in light and being of service. So super happy for Scott. Congratulations. And if anyone else is interested in learning quantum healing, medical intuition, or maybe even just starting fundamentally with like understanding your clairs and meeting your guides, work with me through Journey with JoJo. It's incredibly transformational. Everyone loves it. I love it. It's just been great. I'll leave off with saying this: when you are training with someone that's like me, that's telepathic or very psychic, or have all the clairs, it does something to you in a positive way when you're saying I see this, and then I am saying I see this. And most intuitive kids back in tribal times would be raised under the elder that could see, because it's important to have somebody say you're not crazy. I see something very similar, but my perception is this. See, we got the same thing. That's your psychic ability. That's your mediumship ability. That's your empathic ability. That's equally as important to understanding energy discernment, the source of where it's coming from, which most tarot card readers, psychics, mediums, they don't have any discernment of. You need to know how you're receiving it and where it's coming from. So that's all for today. Are we at about an hour? I think we are right on time here, 59:16. So thank you guys so much, and immense blessings. It's going to be a great week of luck. Tomorrow, join at 6 p.m. here on YouTube Live to ask any questions, relationship, work, spiritual abilities, and I hope to see you there. Thank you so much, guys. All right.